Will Davante Adams demand a trade this offseason? Mitchell Renz from the Raiders Report here to discuss this. I'm just going to call it rumor, if you will. The amount of people that are throwing out the idea that the Raiders star wide receiver Davante Adams could potentially be moved in a trade this offseason is kind of surprising. And I'm not really saying it's from very credible people, but to me, I'm a baseball guy. 3 strikes, I got to talk about it. The fact that RG3 threw it out there, the fact that Raiders Beat talked about it, and then there's another content creator who I'm not going to mention. He's also been throwing out the idea that the Raiders could move on from Davante Adams. RG3 spoke, and he said that the reason why he thinks that not only could Adams demand a trade, but he might want to get traded back to the Packers if the Raiders do not get Aaron Rodgers. We know that Adams has reached out to Dave Ziegler, Josh McDaniels, and they spoke this offseason, and they said, hey, do you want to be a part of the negotiation process of finding a new quarterback? Davante said, obviously, there's a reason why I was here, and I want my guy. So the biggest thing to me would be if they say, hey, we're not going to get Rodgers, or we're going to go out and get somebody else, and Adams doesn't like him, could Tay actually demand a trade? When you consider the fact of how successful not only Aaron Rodgers but also Adams have been together, the numbers definitely indicate that. And shouldn't really surprise anybody. Both of these guys are elite at their positions, but look at Rodgers with Davante Adams. This is his entire career. 263 yards per game with Adams. You see the touchdowns, the interceptions. It's a better quarterback rating, and Rodgers has won 3 MVPs with number 17 compared to only 1. If you want to look at these numbers from a 17-game pace standpoint, Rodgers with Davante Adams on average averages 4,471 yards, 37 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and the team wins about 67.5% of the time, so 11 wins. Without him, though, way less yards, less touchdowns, more interceptions, a worse quarterback rating, so I can understand why Rodgers would want to play with Adams, and I can understand why Adams would want to play with Rodgers. If you're telling me that essentially you get Rodgers and you can win 11 games, that puts yourself in a playoff spot. And I'm sure Davante would want to play with Rodgers, right? I mean, he even said it at the Pro Bowl. Who wouldn't? He is an incredible player. There's no doubt about it. Even more rumors here around Davante Adams. Raiders Beat also put out an article about 5 different things that could happen this offseason, and they said that there's at least a chance. The quote exactly was, there's no guarantee that Adams will want to be a part of what's coming next. They said that Las Vegas could get a couple of premium draft picks for him. If the Raiders traded away a first and a second-round pick for Adams, I get that, you buy a car, it's hard to get the exact same price back. I'm telling you right now, if the Raiders don't get a first and a second-round pick for Davante Adams coming off the year that he just had, myself and a lot of other Raiders fans are going to be very upset. And then when you see the part that there's no guarantee that what's coming next, Beat is really putting out there that they think that there's a rebuild, because that's the only way Adams, would be this upset if there's a rebuild. And I love what Raiders Beat does. But the amount of people out there that are really bringing this up, I just knew I had to make this video. So we're going to make this the pinned comment on today's show, which means every single person that comes across this video, you're going to get hit with a YouTube ad break. I want you to scroll on down and let me know, will Davante Adams demand a trade this offseason? Yes or no? The answer to this one is an outstanding no to me. Davante Adams isn't going to demand a trade. I get the idea that I was the person last year that said the Raiders are never going to trade for him. I'm always the dude that comes on this show, Giggity, and says, hey, anything can happen in the NFL. And I do truly believe that. But knowing the people that I know close to Davante and knowing that Davante loves the Raiders as much as he does, I don't think that it's going to happen. If you love the Raiders, I want you to subscribe for more free Raiders videos. The link's going to be down there below if you are one of our loyal subs. Take that link, send it to a friend, send it to a Raider fan. The more people we get here, the more crazy stuff that we can do. I also know that Davante Adams is a fan of the show. He liked a tweet of mine that said, hey, if the Raiders trade for Aaron Rodgers, 12 hours live. I know Davante watched this show when we went crazy for him last offseason. And if you want to join an insane show when breaking news happens, subscribe and turn on those notifications, because I can promise you this, nobody's going to do it the way that Raider Nation does it here on the Raiders Report. So coming up here right now, I got 5 reasons why I am extremely confident Adams won't be traded, and it involves him. It involves what the Silver and Black are doing. I saw the report out there that there's teams calling the Chicago Bears about potentially trading up to get the number 1 pick. I've heard it all, and I'm here to silence the critics right now. But today's show is presented by Cultivate. If you haven't already, head on over to wecultivate.us/chatsports. I know that they're going to make your life easier. The Raiders Report is sponsored by Cultivate, the free browser extension that brings transparency to your Amazon shopping experience. Cultivate shows you the brand, seller, or product origin and identifies local alternatives that support local community efforts while saving you money. With over 50% of Amazon U.S. sellers based in China, Cultivate offers a way to avoid trickery from these sellers and keep money in the U.S. economy. Cultivate offers alternatives that are on average 30% less expensive than Amazon without any additional costs such as Amazon Prime. It can even identify local alternatives that you can pick up the same day. Cultivate users earn free donations as rewards for using the extension, and the more you use it, the more you earn in donations by increasing your level. In fact, Cultivate donates 51% of the revenue they make on your purchase. So, what are you waiting for? Go to wecultivate.us/chatsports and download Cultivate for free. Let Cultivate bring transparency, savings, and community support to your Amazon shopping journey. Support the Raiders Report and download with our link. It's going to be down in the comments and in the description of today's video. Let's roll now here with our top 5 reasons why the Raiders aren't going to trade away Davante Adams and why Davante Adams is not going to be asked to be traded. I get it. NFL Combine is basically tomorrow. It is tomorrow. Tom Downey, he's going down. He's going to be hanging out. A lot of rumors, so get ready. Lots and lots of rumors. The first reason, Davante's a Raider. Like, think about how often we talk on this show in terms of if you're going to make a deal for a dude, you want to find somebody that reps the shield. That when they put on that jersey, they wear it with swagger. But not only that, they wear it with pride. And Davante's been a Raider his entire life. My dream was to play for this team before he was a Raider. And at this point, I want to try to make this thing work and continue doing what I'm doing here. Myself get better and see the team grow and get better as well. That's what Davante had to say this offseason. Right when the Raiders made the deal for Adams at his opening press conference, when he admitted to watching the Raiders Report, he said that I was a Raider fan my whole life. It is a dream come true to be a Raider. Man, it's a dream come true. So there you go. There's one of the biggest reasons why I don't think that it's going to happen. He's happy. He likes being a Raider. Does he want to win more games? Sure. Who the hell doesn't? Next thing coming up here is it's best for his family. When Adams was dealt to Las Vegas, yes, Derek Carr was a part of that equation, no doubt about it. But he has said time and time again that family was also just as big, if not a bigger factor, on Adams at his welcome press conference about his family. Do I want to go through my whole career without having either of my grandparents from either side see me play? I didn't like that. Also, if you remember, Adams bought a $500,000 suite for his family the very first game when they were at SoFi. The turning point was really when I had to sit down and figure out what was best for me and for my family. Adams knows he's one of the best receivers in the league. I mean, there's no we know that, right? And he's going to be able to put up numbers probably everywhere. But my question to you is, I always say that the Raiders Report is a channel that shows me you don't have to be blood to be family. Hanging out with people in Oakland tailgates, hanging out with people in Vegas, the amount of Raider fans that I've hung out with. Shit, what we did on Friday proves Raider Nation is built different. My question to you is this, though. How many of your family members are Raiders fans? Is it 1? Is it 2? Are you the only member? You're like, man, I got my whole family. And then, do you have family that roots for other teams? I'm curious. My girlfriend, she's a Cowboys fan. It's part of the world that we live in. I know, it's crazy. Let's go to the next reason here why Adams won't be dealt. He got generational money. Not only did the Raiders give up a first and a second-round pick for him, they gave him a 5-year, $140 million deal, which at the time was the first time a wide receiver eclipsed that amount of money. It was also the highest-paid player at his position, and Davante knows that he got generational type of money. This was a tweet that was put out on December 28th by T-Money. Give him a shout out. He got generational money and is able to play close to home. I think it's still a win for him. The reason why I'm showing you this is because Davante Adams liked this tweet. So he knows he gets to play close to home. And he got generational money. This was right after when the Raiders announced that they're moving on from Carr. It is still a win. And Davante, deep down, truly knows that. Let's go to the next reason here, and this one has more to do with the Raiders. If the Silver and Black were to move on from Adams before June 1st, it's going to cost them $31.4 million in dead cap. So not only does it make no sense whatsoever if you are at least trying to win, it also doesn't make any sense because you're going to eat a lot of money. So you're going to pay Davante Adams $31.4 million to not be on your football team? No. I also don't think that Davante would do that to the team that he has said he grew up rooting for. The final reason here is this. He wants to be a part of the plan. His big picture, he knows he has accomplished a lot of incredible statistics. He's no doubt done that. But I do think deep down he wants to not only win a Super Bowl for the Raiders. Davante Adams, in terms of picking his next quarterback, he wants to be in the conversation of that. And when you look at this quote here, me, Josh Ziggs, we've all got a really good dynamic, and it's something that I really appreciate, and I've mentioned it to them as well. They don't have to do anything. I'm not a part of the front office, but they know the reason why I came here. He's referring to the Raiders trying to figure out what they're going to do at the quarterback position. Usually, impact players in terms of that really get a voice in the front office or quarterbacks. It's not too often when I would say a wide receiver gets treated like a QB. Right now, the top two players are Max Crosby, Davante Adams. That's the face of your franchise. Crosby's the face on defense. Adams is going to be the face on offense. And he's going to be the face on offense for a long time unless they get a franchise quarterback. Then if you get a franchise quarterback, then Davante is going to be more than happy to be here. He wants to be a part of the plan. So my question to you is this. What do you think? Which quarterback do you believe Davante Adams wants to play with the most next year? The only reason why we're even having this conversation is because there's a lot of people who are worried that if the Raiders don't get the quarterback that Adams wants, he's going to flip him off and say, I'm getting out of here. Then there's also the other part of people that say, well, if the Raiders are truly dedicated to a rebuild, then moving on from Davante, getting out of his contract, maybe it makes sense. But I just showed you, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So if you haven't already, give me a follow on Twitter. Make sure you do Instagram as well. We're going to be keeping you guys up to date here on everything going on around the Raiders with the NFL Scouting Combine. Definitely subscribe. We're going to have nice little tidbits, like I said, mentioned earlier from Tom Downey. Also at the quarterback position, the top four players right now most likely to be taken at number 1, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson. It's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens to the Raiders, and it's also going to be interesting to see Davante Adams playing for the Silver and Black in 2023 because he's not going to get traded.